You know, all your hard work last week down in Lansing, meeting with the governor and you and Dale and with key legislators and, of course, other outdoor sportsmen's groups, came up with what I thought was an agreement anyway, and now look what's just happened.
Well, as you well know, Buck, the Delta Conservation District last March has been FOIAing 3 agencies, the DNR, the DEQ, and MDA. We know that there's a lot more money down there than what anybody's talking about. We started this on March 5th, 2007. We have yet to receive all our information. We've paid for it. We're ready to get attorneys. A good example is a whole bunch of people went down last week. MUCC had a meeting set up with the governor. I represented the Michigan Conservation Districts at that. We bought into a philosophy to help the DNR out. $2.5 million was needed to get them out of trouble before January 15th, or they'd have to lay off people within the parks, the conservation officers, the foresters, the biologists, and the closed ski trails, and on and on and on. We pretty much knew that there was money in this fund that they said was depleted. We asked people to check into it. Obviously, we heard yesterday that there's a good $10 million, if not more, in this fund. I believe that the citizens of Michigan were dubbed. We're totally lied to by the department. They're playing a shell game with restricted funding versus other things. They're saying that now they still have to do some things because even though this one pot has a bunch of money in it, then they can't access it from other pots. But the problem with that being, they asked one of the representatives, Joel Sheltron, to put money into that pot because that was the one that was depleted.
Which is the fishing game one.
Yes, now we find out that there's an excess in there from last year. Then they're using excuses that they had to wait for the legislative people to balance a budget and all these kind of things. Well, that was known on September 30th, and I think we knew it before that. And the news articles have came out. The director's been on television, radios. I mean, I've seen it in print all over. You know, help us. You know, we really need this. And it was a direct lie to the citizens of Michigan. And the other thing that the conservation districts are very upset about is if you look what the 70% of the non-industrial private landowners own the land in this state. That's 50% of the timber base in this state is owned by that. And a measly $1 million goes to that management, and the DNR has constantly tried to pull that $1 million. And if you want to know how it affects the resource base, there's a $13 billion timber industry. And $8.5 billion comes from those non-industrial private landowners. $1.3 billion hunting industry that the DNR, gets license fees from. 65% of the game is on private land, non-industrial private land. So that's about $850 million of the $1.3 billion. And there doesn't seem to be any attention paid to that. There's, as far as I'm concerned, there's agendas within the Department of Natural Resources, and they're running them all the way, and they owe the people of this state a great apology, and I think the director on down should be removed from office.
Wow. What do you think, though, we need to do now to go forward?
I'm hoping that MUCC, being the largest wildlife group and representing a lot, will be totally upset. I think they went out on a limb for the department. I think they were dubbed and lied to, unless they knew it all along. I don't know. But I think there should be a gigantic meeting pulled together, and we should really do what Keith Charters said he set out to do, and that was to have a conservation summit, bring partners together, and look at the resources. Let's really look at the resources, not how to fund departments. I have attended 3 of those meetings, and the only thing I've seen out of those meetings is how to fund the DNR and the DEQ. That's not what this is about. It's looking at our resource base and how do we properly fund it and how do we promote it and make a future for natural resources in Michigan. Not absolutely is what's going on now. It shouldn't be about funding agencies.